It's clear that the Trans-Texas Corridor is dead. That concept, that vision, the legislature, the people clearly said that's not what we want. So a leader has to find other ways of which to build the transportation, power, water transportation in a growing state. We obviously have to have those in place. One of the first ways is for Washington, D.C. to send back the money that we send to Washington. Our congressional delegation through the years have not done a good enough job of returning those federal gas tax dollars back to the state. For construction purposes, we only get 70 cents back. Construction and maintenance, only 70 cents back for every dollar that we send to D.C. We're building roads. Don't get confused. Your federal tax dollars are building roads. There's not building them in Texas. And we need to get our congressional delegation, get them focused, get them working for Texas. And I think it's important for us to push on that side. Another one of the things that happens is we divert a lot of money in Texas. I got half of it shifted back this last session of the legislature. It's $300 million a year. And we need to get that full amount, those diversions. You know, the fact, it's about transparency. And I'm a big fan of transparency in government. If we say we are going to tax or we are going to put a fee on some activity, that's what it needs to go for. It doesn't need to be transferred over to the general revenue fund and spent for somebody's pet project. It needs to be spent on what you said it was going to be spent on. If you're raising money to build roads in the state of Texas, or you're collecting a tax to build roads, build roads. Don't use it for something else. So those are a couple of the quick ways that we could help increase the amount of transportation infrastructure. And then the people are going to have to decide, and you know, I'm open to the discussion and debate about how to, you know, to bring the resources in, how to be more efficient, etc., to build the transportation infrastructure. But if you live in that corridor between, well, triangle actually, between Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and then back up through Austin to Dallas, 80% of the population live in that area. We're going to have to build some transportation infrastructure. And I hope Texans will all come together and find the most efficient and most effective way to do that.
Well, first, those projects that are of regional significance for our transportation needs ought to be governed and shaped by regional organizations. So, for example, the San Antonio metropolitan area, Austin, Dallas-Fort Worth, Houston, and other major metropolitan areas throughout our state. Well, I was in Tyler the other day and there were traffic problems in Tyler. But each local government entity, if we're dealing with how people get from where they live to where they work, we ought to decentralize that decision-making and authority to the cities and counties and regional organizations as much as possible. Why not give them grants of the funds that are available and let them decide and give them the tools to find where they could find the local funds to supplement those needed, to supplement the funds from the state accumulated by the motor fuels taxes so that they can provide for the needs of their citizens. You know, nothing makes me more irritated than people who rail on about the mandates from Washington, the centralization of power that occurs in Washington, and yet they fight very hard to retain power in Austin so that people in local regions, the counties, the cities, the school districts, the school boards, the parents who go before school boards, and the regional government entities won't have a say in what happens within their region. That's inconsistent. As governor, having the experience of being a local elected official, where I know what accountability means, where I live among my neighbors, I want to give as much power to local regions as possible. There will be those projects which are, I guess to say, interstate in nature. And for that, we need to begin phasing out the diversion of the motor fuels taxes. After all, whatever one may think of the relative merits of transportation funding versus education, mental health, and some of the other basic needs provided by state government, I will tell you this, there's something akin to fraud when you impose a tax, telling the voters you're going to use it for one purpose, and then you use it for another purpose. I would like to see transparent government. And in that vein, I will hope the voters of this state realize that time after time after time, the government in Austin has imposed burdens on local school districts which drive up local property taxes. They've dictated that we raise the amount that we fine people, or they impose taxes. Get this, they've imposed taxes on municipal fines that you pay for traffic violation, where the money is swept away and goes to Austin, because they think that people will not figure that out. We need openness and transparency in taxation.